I was incredibly lucky to win the first Smallman I had in a competition in Darwin in the north of Australia. That was in 1993. And as Greg's sort of making evolved, the guitars changed slightly in characteristics. So I sold that one and bought a 2003 Smallman. And then that one was stolen in 2011, which is why I now have a 2011 Smallman. And very, very quickly, because it's quite a long story, there was a guy, this is the stolen guitar thing was a scam. And this guy called Pat contacted me in January of 2011 and asked if I would come and play at a memorial service for, as it turned out, his non-existent late brother. But his non-existent late brother had loved the guitar, so he wanted to have guitar at the memorial service. They set a date of March the 18th, and we chatted quite a lot in the interim period, and he invited me to join his family and friends at noon in London for lunch before the 2 o'clock service at the Brompton Oratory, a big Catholic church in South Kensington. So we'd arranged to meet at the church to see where I was going to play, to leave my guitar safely there and go together in a taxi to the restaurant. Yeah, I'm really gullible, you might like to know. I was very easy to do this to. So we left the guitar safely. He said he had to wait for latecomers. He sent me off in the taxi on my own and went and stole my guitar. And then he went to meet a colleague of mine, a Mexican guitarist called Morgan Zemansky, who he'd booked on exactly the same premise, but half an hour later at a different church in Holborn. Met Morgan, sent him off, stole his guitar as well. So these days, if you can find a Smallman in a specialist guitar shop, they cost about £27,000, which is a lot for a guitar. You can get this sort of sound world from a younger maker for £6,000 or £7,000 upwards from there, but it is an expensive guitar. So the story goes on, but that's the essence of it, and that's why I have the 2011. There has been, in the past, a 5-year waiting list for Smallman guitars, because so many people wanted them. From the early 2000s, his two sons, Damon and Kim, have been building with him, but Greg's in his 80s and still very much involved in finishing the guitars. But Damon and Kim do the bulk of the building. And he was horrified by the story, so very kindly he bumped me out the list. So I had an instrument after 3 or 4 months. And luckily, Morgan and I both had the same insurance company, because I wasn't relishing telling that one to them. So it all worked out as well as you could hope it to under the circumstances. And it wasn't traumatic. You know, there are many other things that can happen to you. It was more surreal than anything else. So if you're going to be a victim of crime, I was fortunate that it wasn't sort of worse than